it's time for Blumpkin and Friends, starring your host, the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin.
Ooh-wee!
Holy shit!
Show me what you got.
Hey kids, I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin, and with me today is my friend,
Number one fan, Tim.
I had a dog growing up from age 8 to 22.
You had him all until you were 22?
Yeah, that's when we finally had to put him to sleep because he wouldn't stop pissing in the house, and he would like shake, and sometimes his legs would give out. My dad just like, fucking get rid of him, I'm sick of cleaning up piss. I just want to preface how tragic it was when my mom purchased the dog.
Why was it tragic? Isn't that supposed to be normally a happy moment?
Yeah, normally you get a kid a dog because they really want a dog. She got me a dog because I really wanted a brother, and she kept having miscarriages.
Oh, that's actually heartbreaking.
Isn't it? Her fucking womb was just not working.
Like, I don't want this kid to have a brother.
It's not that she didn't try. I mean, she fucking
Well, I'm
lost.
sure she tried, but I think maybe her body knew what was up.
Yeah, 5 babies they lost before me. Miscarriages and such. 6 babies after me. One of those pregnancies was a set of twins. I don't know how many were stillborns. Yeah, it just didn't take. So what happens when you use fertility drugs in the 80s to conceive a child is me.
Oh.
That's what you get.
That's a lethal combination.
So she brings home this fucking box from the pet ranch at Northtown Mall. And she's like, I got you something. I'm like, a brother? She's like, no, it's not a brother.
Went to the store,
And then she
picked up
shows
a
me a
brother.
dog. I'm like, it's a puppy. And my dad's like, yay.
It's a poodle.
So there's this little fucking tiny ass black dog running around. And one of the first things he does is he jumps up and licks my face. I'm like, hey, I'm not used to that shit. And then my dad's sitting on the floor trying to play with him. And then he starts licking my dad all over. And then he pisses on the floor right next to my dad. So, I mean, the dog set the tone right out of the fucking gate.
That's the Jacque that I know.
Yeah. So I gave him a name. That name was Jacque. It's a French name because he was a miniature toy French poodle.
I was going to say, so you gave him the gayest French name you could come up with?
No, I didn't call him Fritz.
Is Fritz gayer than Jacques?
I don't know. Guy. Guy would have been the fucking gayest name I could have given him. Or just the name Gay.
It's like, hey, gay.
Why not? I mean, there was a fucking baseball player named Gaylord Perry.
That's different, though.
Because it's a man and his name's Gaylord, and that's somehow more respectable than a dog. You're like, hey, gay.
Yeah, in my mind, yes. I'll just go with that.
As opposed to if you're at the park and you're walking your dog, you're like, oh, this dog's cute. What's his name? Faggot, because he's always trying to lick other dogs' dicks.
Like, I have a friend who has a dog that does that.
Does it?
Yeah. Their dog, the Percy and Yale. Yale belongs to one friend, Percy belongs to the other. And when those dogs get together, it's like Yale's constantly trying to fucking butt fuck or slob the knob of Percy. And I don't think Percy likes it anymore.
Yeah.
Percy's getting older, Yale is a little bit
Anymore?
younger.
What?
They did it so fucking much when those dogs got together. Like, no matter we get together with friends, those dogs were always on each other. And I swear to God, Yale would get up and fuck Percy.
Interesting. Establishing dominance and maintaining. It's like,
Must
oh,
be.
it's you again. Well, I know how this is going to go, so let's just get it over with. All right, maybe lick my pink thing a bit, and once you're done with my red rocket, you can come into my butt. Fucking dogs, dude. Cats don't do that shit. I don't ever see cats
Nope.
walking up to other cats and trying to fucking rape them.
No, they just try to kill him.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That makes more sense. If I see somebody I don't like, I, would think, oh, I'm going to kill you. Versus, hey, you're kind of an asshole. Heads up, I'm going to hold you down, and it's going to hurt for a bit. You might feel a pinch, and just because of your fucking sass, I'm not going to spit on it first. It's going in dry, and it's going to burn. And I'm not going to enjoy it, but mentally, it's going to feel good for me. It's going to be very cathartic when I release inside of you.
Ah!
Which is a lot to say to somebody in the midst of an argument over something stupid at a bar, and people might go, the bathroom's over there, guys, if you just want to go fucking get it over with.
We don't do that at this bar.
Yeah. So anyways, I had a dog, and he bit me a lot, and I teased him mercilessly.
I think he bit me once.
He might have. And the infamous story of Neil one time Yeah, I hope you fucking know what I'm about to say, you motherfucker. I know he's listening to this. Where he's like, hey, check this out. And he leans over to my dog and he flicks his dick and goes, bing! And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you flicking my dog's dick? Are you trying to show him who's the boss? Are you the alpha now? Is that how I could have got him to stop biting me years ago? It's just to flick his dick a few times? Be like, hey, no. Bing!
Did it ever bite Neil? Did Jacque ever bite Neil after
I don't
that?
think so.
Jacque is like, oh, God, that fucking stings. All right,
Yeah,
I'll stop biting you.
Probably. I mean, everything with that fucking dog was he was obsessed with my mom. And if you said, Jacque, I'm going to get your kennel, and you ran up, he'd fucking come barreling.
Yeah, if you tapped
I'm gonna
the
get
side
mom.
of his kennel.
He had this ball with a bell inside. I called it his dingle ball. I'm like, Jacque, I'm going to get your dingle ball. I'm going to get your rawhide.
I never liked your dog.
I don't know. I had a love-hate
If I went over there and he
relationship
was
with
out
him.
of his kennel, it's like, God, this dog going to jump all over me.
Well, that's the thing is that whenever he chose to poop in the house, he did it somewhere where he knew he wasn't supposed to. In the
Which
middle,
is anywhere in the house.
no, in the middle of my parents' formal living room. You know, the room where nobody's supposed to sit unless it's a family gathering on a holiday.
It's been a very long time since I've been in that house, but I know exactly what you're talking about, actually.
That's a big deal. He'd shit right in the middle of the room, and then you'd see it and go, God damn it. It's like a fucking orange parking ticket in New York City. You could see that shit from a long ways, and it pisses you off from a distance. So I got the harebrained idea once that I threw a couple of fucking larger Tootsie Rolls down on there. And my mom like, crap. My mom's like, what? I'm like, the dog shit. And she's like, oh, how big is it? Is it messy? So she's watching. I'm like, this is fucking going perfect. I walk over to it, and I'm like, she's like, oh, gross. Don't smell it. I'm like, something's weird about this. She's like, what do you mean? And I grab it, and I'm like, barehanding it with my fingers. She's like, Knock, that's gross. Go get a paper towel. I'm like, and I took a bite of it. She's like, oh my God. So like she fell for it perfectly. It was so great.
It's okay.
But if she never would have bought me that dog, which she bought me because her, womb wouldn't sustain another child and she had so many miscarriages trying to give me a brother, I never could have pulled that gag.
God, I have a hard time imagining you with a brother.
I wouldn't have all these scars on my hands. I wouldn't have this scar on my lip right here.
That was a present from Jacque.
Yeah, because I got down in his face and I didn't realize his rawhide was there. And he got down in his I'm about to attack stance and was growling. And my dad got up. I'm like, he's going to bite me. Don't fucking move. He's like, no, he's not. Then my dad gets up and kicks him in the ass gently. The dog bites me on the fucking face.
Who do you blame on that one?
My dad, the fucking stupid son of a bitch. I told him, I'm like, I'm just going to wait here and I'm going to quickly turn my head away and cover. But I didn't have time to do that because my dad kicked him in the ass. He lunges at me. So thanks, Dad, you fucking dimwit.
See, the first dog I ever had was Buster.
Yeah.
And he was the pure-bred Siberian Husky. I think we had him like a couple of weeks. And it was just him and I at the house. I sat down on the floor next to him. I kind of looked at him and was like, how are you doing, Buster? I was like, I'll develop a rapport with him. You know what he fucking did? Boom! Fucking headbutts me right in the head. I'm like, fuck! Oh, dude, are you kidding? And I kind of slapped him in the shoulder. He kind of got up and walked away. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Most people would go, well, it's a dog. And you're talking to him like a human. And I'm just going to say this. That dog was your mental superior. He knew you were trying to schmooze, and he went, fuck this guy. And he totally gave you a kiss right there. Crowned you one.
Oh, God. It didn't ring my bell, but it was just like, Jesus. It actually hurt. So it was probably a few weeks later. I was talking to my uncle. My uncle was up and over, and he's petting the dog. It was the first time he'd met this dog and everything. And
Pet that.
so I watched
dog.
my uncle, and like they're outside, and I see Uncle grab Buster by the scruff of his neck and just start slowly pushing Buster down. And then Buster eventually, when he got low enough, he just rolled over onto his back and exposed his belly. And I was like, what'd you do that for? And he's like, well, I was watching that dog whisperer guy, whatever the fuck his name is.
Fuck.
And I was like, yeah. He's like, and this is the way you establish dominance over dogs. And I was like, oh, sweet. So I'll try that. And it was probably a few days later, Buster didn't want to listen. So I grabbed him by the scruff, and as I started trying to push him down, he kind of went, argh! And I was like, oh, no, you don't. And I shoved him down. And after a few seconds, he rolled over onto his back and exposed his belly. He's like, that's right. And after that, he was never fucking tried fucking with me again.
No Red Rocket?
No Red Rocket. Never tried humping my leg or anything. I mean, other than the fact he was an escape artist, and if he got out without a leash, I mean, you had to chase him.
Oh, Jesus.
That was a game for him.
I had a neighbor with a dog like that. That dog's name was Sugar, and I forget what fucking breed it was, but there's this little white dog. and she'd always get off her goddamn leash. And no matter how many times it happened, they never got a better leash. They got one of those fucking chains connected to a ground anchor that you twist into the dirt. Mm-hmm. Once that broke loose, then they just took the chain around the tree and chained it together with a quick link. It didn't fucking work. And I can't tell you how many times I went chasing that goddamn dog. It wasn't even my dog. I was just like, I have a dog. I know what it's like. She has 2 little girls. They love that dog. But yeah, I had to chase that motherfucker. And I'm following it down the sidewalk one time. And these 2 guys in a car stop like, oh, you need help with your dog? I'm like, no, I got it. It's fine. Jacob Wetterling went through my mind. I'm like, hey, these guys are going to take me and fucking rape me and kill me. I don't know why my mind instantly went there anytime strange men in a car tried to talk to me, but I guess as a kid, my parents did their job to instill an almost ridiculous amount of fear of strangers in me.
At that period of time, yes, everybody's parents did.
Right. So fucking sugar, man. And I don't know whatever happened to that dog, but Jesus Christ, one time it got loose, and I had to walk across into the next street over, and there's this lesbian that lived in a house by the path to the elementary school in my neighborhood. And she's like, you need to keep that goddamn dog on a leash. I don't know what its problem is, but I'm sick of this dog shitting on my lawn. I'm like, well, it's not my dog, lady. It's my neighbor's dog. And I'm trying to catch her just to be a nice guy. So maybe go swear at the owner, not me, huh? I must have been about 11 when I came up with that one. Just sicker. I mean, she didn't look attractive. She looked like somebody's uncle.
She was the butch.
She had the fucking most maintained, perfect goddamn lawn. And she'd go out and stand and make sure the kids didn't walk across her lawn coming home from school. It's like, bitch, build a fence and find a fucking hobby.
Oh, bitch, you got jacked, bitch.
So when I was probably 9, 10, 11 years old, we were playing at a friend's house that lives across the street from me. And we were baseball, whatever the hell. We hit a ball into the neighbor's yard. That neighbor had, I'm pretty sure it was a pit bull, might have been a Rottweiler.
Oh, Jesus
remember
Christ.
the breed. And we knew the dog. The dog knew. I mean, we played in that yard all the time, so the dog kind of knew us. But I don't think any of us, or at least I had never been in that dog's yard before. So I jumped the fence to go get the ball. And so I walk up, and I grab the ball, I pick it up, and I see the dog come just kind of walking around the corner.
Oh, shit.
I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, the dog's name was Ebenezer. I'm just like, okay, well, I turn around, threw the ball, and my brother was like, just walk back to the fence. I ran.
Dummy.
Yep, dummy. Dog chased after me, pinned me to the fence, and bit me one of these sides right here.
Wow, really?
Yeah, broke skin. Didn't puncture, but it was like a scraping wound.
Uh-huh.
And that was the one time it did it, and then it just took off. I think it's because everyone started, my brother and their friends started yelling, and the dog took off. So I jumped over the fence. At this point, I'm not really crying, but I want to cry. Because it hurt.
You're holding it in to be a tough guy, so the other kids wouldn't mock you mercilessly?
No, it was just, I think I was too scared to cry.
How the fuck
I'm still
too scared to cry unless you're Anne Frank?
Like, I'm still in shock, about what happened. So to the point where it's like, I could have cried, but I didn't. And then, so we told my friend's parents, and they went and talked to the dog's owner, and he's just like, well, I'm pretty sure he's had his rabies shots, but I got to look it all up. It wasn't until later that night we found out, yes, the dog had his rabies shots. They weren't expired or anything like that. And it's like, thank God.
Well, that's good.
I don't know if my dad ever threatened a lawsuit or anything. Years later, the guy that lived there, his son was starting to come visit on weekends, and I became friends with his son a little bit. But every time I went over, it's like, where's the dog? It's like, I got him in the backyard.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I don't want him to have a tangle with a dog again. And then 2 weeks ago, I'm at my coworker's house, and his little dogs come out into the garage where I am, and the one comes over, and they're excited, they're yipping, and the one kind of jumping up on my left leg, like, hey, pet me, but the other one ran right up and bit me in the back of the leg.
Motherfucker.
Just above the knee, and I'm like, oh, fuck, and I kicked it, and they took out running, because my coworker is just like, get in here, dogs, and he's apologizing profusely, and I'm checking. It's like I don't have blood, but I mean, you could feel it, like they broke skin and like another like scraping kind of wound. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, yeah, sometimes when that dog gets excited, it meets new people. Sometimes it bites them. And I was just like, if I had a dog that randomly bit people, I'd get rid of it.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh no, your reaction's understandable and all that. And
oh, Jesus
I didn't realize I kicked him. He told me later, he's like, you kicked that as soon as he bit you, you kicked him, and that dog flew about 3 feet. It's like. And he wasn't even mad at me for doing that. And his wife comes out and starts apologizing. And it's just like, yeah, if the dog's biting like that, get rid of it.
Another time, I think I scared him to the point where he pissed. Because I picked him up, and then I was listening to Rammstein, and I cranked it up, and I was like jumping up and down with him and screaming in his face, just like, just to fuck with him to see what he'd do. And I set him down, and he just kind of pissed right there in my room. So either he was like getting his revenge, or I scared the piss out of him. I don't know. But
I'm going to go scare the piss out of him.
Now that I think about you saying you were too scared to cry, when I went to go get my senior pictures taken, we went to this place in Anoka. So we go there, and my mom and I are walking down the street, and I didn't see a dog in a car, and the window was open about 2 inches. So we walk by the car, and my mom's closer to the building, and I'm in between her and this vehicle. And as I walk by the door, a giant fucking dog just out of nowhere, right at that window gap. It scared the breath out of me.
Yeah, see, that kind of describes what I have.
No, it really, like, struck me so off guard. Like, it surprised me to the point where I went, ugh, and I couldn't breathe. And then I was like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
I wasn't telling myself, don't cry. It's just like, holy fuck, what the hell? But it was a point where you could cry.
Yeah. I've been there, but I've also been bitten by somebody else's dog. Like, I dated this chick years ago, and it's the chick whose dad owns a bike store, wink, wink. So I'm at her house, and we're fucking around. I'm playing with the dog, and just for no reason at all, I start walking around the dog in a circle as it's laying down on the ground. I'm like, does this dog ever get up and do anything? And her dad's like, oh, yeah, it just depends on if he wants to play. So I get about 3 laps in, and I pick up some speed, and then the dog, I feel it nips me on the back of the calf. Not hard, but just to, like, get me. I'm like, okay, we're not playing. What the fuck just happened? He's like, he bite you? I'm like, he nipped me. I'm not bleeding or nothing. I'm not mad. It didn't hurt, but holy shit, I guess I didn't think he had it in him. Bang. No, this was a beautiful, wonderful German Shepherd. It's an intelligent breed. I would never do that to them.
No, I'm not saying you like that. It's like, he bit you? Yeah, I think so. Bam.
Yeah, fuck.
Like, I'm not having a dog around that's going to bite.
Yeah, no, he loved his German Shepherds, and he kept getting them time after time. But yeah, that dog nipped me. I've had some close calls with some dogs that jumped up on me, and I just like froze and covered my face. And that's why now I taught the Juice, because she's scared of big dogs. Like, if a dog comes up to you and you don't recognize it, don't put your face in its face. And if a dog comes up to you and you know it very well and trust it, don't put your fucking face in its face.
Never do that.
Like, just cover up. Just cover your face. And just, if it nips your fucking arms, oh well. You don't need plastic surgery on your goddamn arms to look human again. Because I know somebody who could have got bit in the face 10 fucking surgeries.
Jesus.
Still has a massive fucking thing on their face. So then, of course, the one time she has to actually apply, and I've told her, I'm like, if you see a dog, don't run. It'll chase you. If it gets close to you, cover your face. And we're at a playground, and a fucking dog walks up. It seems like a really cool dog. It's a big-ass dog. It wasn't a shepherd. It was a lab of some sort. And it's sniffing her. I'm like, don't scream. Don't scream. She covers her mouth. She covers her mouth, and she fucking convulses and starts turning red. Like she's about to get murdered. And then the dog just sniffs her and saunters off. I'm like, see, I fucking told you don't panic.
And now, Jeremy Irons raps.
My dogs. The beginning of this bloodline of mine. That spark this ninja's heart and cause him to shine. Before the rhyme lessons that I keep in my mind. I owe you. And I give my right hand to show you.
That was Jeremy Irons raps.
You're listening to Blumpkin and Friends.
One of the funniest parts about the fact that my mom got me this dog, which, again, to remind you, she only got me because they couldn't conceive a sibling for me because her womb was rancid, as I've previously told you.
Yeah.
My dad did not like dogs. He was not a dog person. He apparently never wanted the fucking thing.
I could actually think back to it, and I don't think he was ever really affectionate to that dog. He was just like, Jacque, go away. Or Jacque, be quiet.
Yeah, he tolerated him.
I don't think I ever saw him pet.
I find it humorous that she bought a dog when he didn't want a dog. Like, how did she talk him into that?
I don't think she talked him into anything. I think she just went, I bought him a dog. Here it is.
No.
No?
Because this was back in 1990. So she wasn't as cut in stone with her cunty personality. I was too young, and she was still a politician, so...
Now, did you have Jacque when you first started coming up north?
Yeah.
You did? Okay. I can't remember when I actually met him. I just don't recall him being there when I first met you.
Oh, it's funny you should say that, because when we started going there, every time we'd lock him up and we'd leave to go to church or somewhere out to eat, the neighbors would complain that he'd just fucking bark and yelp the whole time. And he would. You put him in the kennel, and he's fucking just freaking out. I don't know why he thought after all those years that he was ever going to get out. You would have thought that the first... What did I have, 14 years? So let's say the first 7 years, you would have thought that stupid motherfucker would have figured out, okay, I'm not going to dig my way out of this goddamn thing. And then the final 7 years, he stopped doing it so vigorously, but still would bark the whole time. And of course, as he got older, he lost teeth, and he had like a hockey mouth. And then his bark sounded more gravelly and shit. And it's just like, God, should we maybe like throw in a potato sack in a pond or something? Or fucking Jesus, this is getting terrible to listen to.
Let him go out with dignity. Just shoot him.
Oh, yeah. One story that I think has to get told is we were coming back from my grandparents' place in Duluth. So it's a 2.5-hour drive home.
Oof.
And the dog, I figured that he probably would not want to be in the kennel the whole ride. So I let him out. And as we're riding, and this is my parents' old minivan, the burgundy one with the bench seat, not the bucket seats in the second row.
One, yeah.
My dad always had a fucking blanket over the seats.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the dog starts pissing on the blanket. And I tell my dad, and he pulls over, and we're on 35W. Yeah. So the speed limit's 65. Cars are fucking whizzing by. He pulls over, he puts the dog in the kennel, he puts the kennel upright, he doesn't shut the door, he just closes it. So he hasn't, like, fastened it into place with the pegs that keep it from opening. And he's trying to get the blanket off the fucking bench. And the kennel tips over. And I start screaming at my dad because I'm like, the dog's getting out. He's going to get hit. Like, I immediately thought my dog was going to die.
And you cared?
Well, yes, because I was a child.
Okay.
And my dad starts trying to grab the dog, who sees the cars and freaks out. So they start chasing each other around the van on the shoulder like it's a fucking Looney Tunes short. And finally, I think I got out and I got in front of the dog to scare him so my dad could grab him. And I was just like, why didn't you close the kennel? And of course, my mom gave him all kinds of shit for that because honestly, he was so focused on the piss on the blanket that he couldn't spend 2 seconds pushing 2 little bars down and in so they would lock. And a whole fucking nightmare scenario that almost played out could have been avoided if my dad could have gotten his fucking anger under control and just shut the goddamn kennel door.
I have to side with your dad on this one. I'm pretty sure he did that so that he was hoping that the dog would tip it over and run out and get hit by a fucking car and then he would be out of his misery. Your father.
No, my dad's not like that because he never, as much as he fucking didn't like the dog, he never like kicked the dog for biting me.
He probably felt that you deserved it because he knew you were teasing the dog.
No, because he should have fucking done something to try to curtail that shitty behavior. But, you know, again, the dog was super attached to my mom, so my dad didn't dare do anything to fucking piss her off. I don't know. I think of all these people with fucking dog problems. Your dog bites somebody, they destroy your house. Jacque sometimes would drag his ass on the carpet, and my dad would get super pissed. Very few good memories of that dog other than that time that, you know, he accidentally licked my ass while I was cleaning up potato chips, but that was probably on me.
Probably.
Dogs like shit. What can I say?
Your dog is gay.
Yeah. And then, you know, there was another time I had Batman and Robin pajamas when I was a kid. I'd switch, you know, alternate days. And then one time I put on the Batman ones and I put the Robin ones on him. I had to use tape to kind of get the cuffs to stick around his...
You think?
But yeah, I dressed the dog up, and that was about the most kindness I ever really showed him other than petting him. I mean, he'd sleep on my bed while I was at school all day, so clearly as much as he bit me and I teased him, he still loved me. But I never want another dog. Ever. Fucking ever.
I think once River's done, I'm done with dogs. When you go back to the damage in the house thing, Buster did a little bit of damage. It was superficial damage, nothing that was seriously expensive to repair. But I believe my cats have done more damage to my house than my dog has. Either of my dogs combined.
Yeah, I just don't need any more pets after this.
Yeah, I once the cats, I had no pets. I don't want any more pets.
Good morning, sister.
I've been a bad girl.
Really? Well, tell me all about it.
I've been very bad.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm gonna do some penance. Take it. Take that dick. Take it. Sean, you fucking love this cock. Take. Oh shit, hang on, I gotta go do something. Congregation of Emo Jesus may be seated. A reading from the Book of Blumpkin.
When I was a kid, I had a dog, and obviously dogs clean themselves. Well, here's the thing about my dog. He used to clean himself for a ridiculous, almost inappropriate amount of time. I want you to picture a dog, a little black dog, licking his own balls, or at least where they used to be, because we had him neutered. And he'd sit there and he'd clean and he'd clean and he'd clean. And by the time he was like towards the end of life, he didn't really enjoy much, which may coincide with the fact that he would spend 3 to 5 minutes down there at a time. And he just, like, picture the sound of stirring a bowl of macaroni. And then somebody, like, breathing heavily through their nose while they're doing it. This fucking dog was out of breath by the time he was done cleaning himself. So, for all intents and purposes, my childhood dog Jacque used to not just clean himself, he was full-on performing auto-fellatio.
You listening to Blumpkin and Friends.
We've reached the point in the show when it's time to play a game.
Oh, we're going to play a game on this one. All right.
We are. You're going to be playing the RPS challenge.
Oh, God.
You're not sniffing the title shot, but you will be sniffing the jock of the motherfucker that had the last title shot. That is Joey Black. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Blumpkin and Friends proudly brings to you the Rock, Paper, Scissors Intercontinental Championship Challenge Championship of the World! You know how this works. Rock, paper, or scissors. We will do 5 hands. If we need to, we will go extended to 8.
Okay.
Hand number 1.
Scissors.
You went scissors. He went scissors. No point.
I'm really hoping you would say paper.
Yeah, well. Hand number 2.
I'm going to go scissors again.
You went scissors again. He also went scissors again.
Damn it.
Yeah, isn't that great? That great. No point. Hand number 3.
Tough choice here. Probably trying to slight the person playing against him. So I'm going to go with randomly scissors.
Okay. You said scissors. He said paper.
Ooh, I almost said paper.
How about that? You're on the board. Good for you. Hand number 4.
I'm going to go rock.
Oh, good for you. Rock. You went rock. He went paper.
Damn it.
So we're tied again.
Better get this one.
So let's figure this out. This is 2 friends who I've done birthday episodes and written them songs for their birthday for and given them birthday title shots. So it's kind of a supremacy thing here now. You're establishing dominance. So you need to figure out what he's going to do, and then you need to grab him by the scruff, hold him down, flip him on his belly, and then show him who's the boss. I know that sounds gay and rapey, but don't make it gay and rapey.
Whatever.
Red Rocket, Red Rocket. Hand number 5.
God, but what do I do? What do I do? There's so much writing on this. I'm going to go with scissors. It's probably wrong.
Went scissors. He went paper.
Yeah!
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I won one.
Good for you.
You win.
I'm going to text him and say, you lost. Fuck off.
Eat it, bitch.
I won't tell him that. Interact with the show on Twitter at Blumpkin Show. That is at Blumpkin Show. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/Blumpkin and friends. We are on iTunes and on Podbean at blumpkinshow.podbean.com. For original songs by yours truly, you can go to soundcloud.com/BlumpkinMusic. Or you could simply go to YouTube and search Blumpkin Music. I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin.
And I'm number 1 fan, Tim.
Good night.